Evening everybody, apologies for being a little bit late. Thanks for joining me for Coffee and Card at Home. So this week we had our first Zoom session of the month using a new stamp set and punch. And we used the Perfectly Plaid stamp set with the pine tree punch that goes with that for cutting out the Christmas trees. And these were the cards that we created this morning. So using some DSP and then the Christmas tree images and a sentiment. So quite easy to put together. And you could do them in lots of different colourways as well, using different DSP and things like that. So could be a good one to get lots of cards made if you still need to get quite a few done. Also they're quite flat, so good for posting as well. So I'm just going to put those to the side and then show you how we are going to make them. So you're just going to need a C6 card base, which is half of an A4 sheet, 14.8, and then scored at 10.5 centimetres. I'm just going to burnish my fold, so that's my card to sit nice and flat. And then what we're going to do first of all is we're going to get our piece of DSP put on there. So I've got a couple of different patterns. Also, the thing to remember about Stampin Up DSP is obviously it has the pattern on the back as well, so then you can choose which side you prefer. So I think I'm actually going to go for the green one. I think that feels nice and Christmassy. And that has been cut so that it's the same width as the card base, which is 14.8. And then I think I'm just going to double check it. I have cut it at 4.5 centimetres, but you could have your DSP at any width you wanted. I'm actually using up some scraps that I cut off from something else, which is why they're that measurement, but you could do any measurement. Hi Tracy, thanks for joining me. So Tracy has bought the kit this month, but she wasn't able to take part in the Zoom. So the great thing about the Coffee and Card is that I do the Zoom in the morning with people that can make it, and for anybody that can't attend, they can catch up later on in the evening at 8:30 on my Facebook page by watching the live. So then that also gets saved onto my YouTube channel, and so that then is there from tomorrow morning, so that anyone can find it nice and easily on there to watch it again. So I've just put a little bit of Tombow on the back that I don't want, but obviously a nice pattern on that side as well. And then you could put this DSP anywhere you want it really. I've decided to go on the bottom edge, but you could put it in the middle or at the top, or as was saying with the ladies earlier this morning, you could actually even have it so that it's down one side and have it in a portrait way instead. So there's lots of different options that you could do with it. So I'm going to stick with this way for now. So the next bit is I've just got a scrap of the white, and I'm going to just put my trees on here, and you could either use a mixture of greens or up to you really. I'm just going to use Old Olive because that's one of my favourite greens. If I just show you on the stamp set, we're going to stamp the tree that looks like a real fir tree, the one that's in the plaid pattern, and then we're going to stamp this one, which is the outline, and then the infill on that as well. So, and earlier on it wasn't coming out particularly well, some of the stamping, so I'm just going to use my paper piercing that just to give my work surface a bit of an extra added sort of strength when I'm stamping. So it doesn't matter which one we start with. So I've got the plaid one to begin with, and this scrap that I'm using has been cut at the right sort of size to be able to fit nicely into my punch as well. And then I'm just going to stamp the fir tree. And if you don't like it being quite so dark, you could always stamp off as well, to give you a slightly different effect. And then lastly, just going to stamp this one. And then this bit has got the bit to colour it in as well. It's a bit fiddly trying to line this up. I have to say, sometimes I've got it spot on and sometimes I haven't, so kind of have to go for your best you can. That's not bad actually, that's gone quite close. So when you've got those stamped, we are going to cut them out. Now, all of them fit into the pine tree punch, which is great. And it will leave just a small white border around the edge of your trees. Now this one, I'm doing the one that looks like a real Christmas tree. There is a little stamp that you can use to put the trunk on, but I've decided that I'm not really going to worry too much about that. There we go. So I've got my 3 trees now. And like I say, you could do those in any colours you want really. You could make them coordinate with your DSP, or you could go for completely unusual colours. Right, next, I'll find what I'm looking for. We're going to stamp our sentiment. And there's quite a few different ones in the stamp set, but I've decided to use sort of a long one to sit along here. And what I might actually do is I might change this round a bit, and I might do my sentiment on this side and then put my trees, that's the word I was looking for, on the other side. Now I'm going to try and coordinate my sentiment colour with the DSP, so just looking at that, I think that looks like it might be cherry cobbler, so I'm going to go with cherry cobbler for my sentiment. And then I'm going to use my grid lines either side to help me to get that nice and straight. And then because I want this part of the tree to be hidden, I'm going to try and put that on behind so that it ends up being overlapped by the others, and then you won't see that that doesn't have the little trunk on it. But like I say, if you want to put the trunk on it, there is, I'll just show you, there is a little stamp there that you could use. Now, to make these good for posting, I am keeping these flat, but you could of course use dimensionals just to raise them up if you want to. So I'm just layering these, so you see I've hidden that trunk now on that one. You can put them in pattern you like. And then I've got some little gold foil stars. This is actually not a Stampin' Up star punch. I don't think we have anything quite this small at the moment, but you could always use, if you've got any star shaped gems or things along those lines, then you could use those. And just because of the size of them, they're a bit fiddly, I'm actually just going to stick this on with a glue dot because it just makes it a little less messy. But you could use Tombow if you wanted to, or you could of course use a mini dimensional, and then you could have them obviously raised up. But if you want to post them, then this is quite a good way of keeping it as flat as possible. So I've got 3 of these gold foil stars. And just get those stuck on with the glue dots. And then that is the main part of my card done. So if I bring the others back, you'll see the slight variations in colour. And obviously I've got positioning slightly different now as well. But what you could do if you wanted to carry on a little bit more is you could put some gemstones on, just to make it look a little bit like it has got some balls and things on. So I'll just move my other two out of the way. Now I've got some gold ones, which obviously would look nice, but I think I'd like to put a few red ones on as well. So I'm just going to show you a little tip for the red ones. So I'm just putting, like I say, a few gold ones on. See, that looks quite nice. But if you want to coordinate it with your sort of sentiment colour or anything like that, then what you can actually do is you can take a plain pearl or a plain sort of silver rhinestone, and you can take a Sharpie and you can actually colour them in. And if you want to really coordinate it completely, then you can actually use the Stampin Blends, because the alcohol markers, just like Sharpies are permanent, you're not going to lose the colour on them. So whatever colour you might need, it is a great way of being able to have exactly the colour that you want to work with your colours. And I've only put 3, actually I might do one more red one. I've only put a few red ones on there, but you can see how different it looks by coordinating the red. It doesn't want to be picked up. There we go. By coordinating the red and the gold together. So that's a really nice little tip that you can use. And if I bring back one of the others, you'll see the difference it makes by just adding those gems on the tree. So that isn't something I'd included in the kit, but if you've got some gems, it's a really nice way of making it look a little bit different. So just a quick recap of what we've used. So the stamp set we've been using is Perfectly Plaid, which coordinates with the pine tree punch. And then the DSP that we've used here is the Perfectly Plaid DSP from last year actually, which sadly is retired, but I still have lots of it and love it. And then we've used old olive on the trees, a colour to coordinate with your DSP. So for me, I've used cherry cobbler here, and I've used rich raspberry on this one, and then just some gold foil, mini stars, and a few sparkly gems if you wish, just to finish it off. So I hope you'll have a go at that. I'd love to see what you've been creating, so you can go to my group on Facebook, which is called Claire's Creative Collective, and put anything that you've done on there and share it with us. And if you would like to purchase any of these, please feel free to get in touch, and then I can help you out when I'm placing my next order. Thank you, Tracy. I'm glad you like them. Obviously you've got a couple that you can make now. I'd love to see what yours turn out like when you've had a chance to do them. So I will see you next week for week 2 using the same set. And I think actually next week we might be doing something which doesn't use the trees, but uses some other parts of the stamp set as well. Anyway, have a good week. I shall see you again next Monday. Take care. Bye.